Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari Gaura Hari. Jaya Gandharika Giridhari, Gandharika Giridhari Gaura Hari. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Can you pass that hard copy of your file? So we are reading from third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is second verse. So before we get started, so is this the first time you are visiting this center? You have been coming fair as well. Okay. How about you? First time. First time? Okay. So in the evenings you are coming for the first time. Okay. So we from few months back we started off with this daily reading of Bhagavad Gita. So we take one shloka per day, and on the weekends, for all the weekdays, Monday to Friday, and then we roll over from Monday onwards from the next shloka. So one shloka per day. So that way we have reached till third chapter. So please try to repeat this after me while we chant this verse. Vyamishrenev vakena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. One more time. Vyamishrenev vakena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. One last time. Vyamishrenev vakena buddhim mohayasiva me तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम् यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. Can you give it a try? व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. You want to try? Difficult? Yes. You want to try? Yeah, please. व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. So let's try to understand word to word meaning. Vyamishrena by equivocal. Iva certainly. Vakyena words. Buddhim intelligence. Mohayasi you are bewildering. Iva certainly. Me my. Tat therefore. Ekam only one. Vada please tell. Nishchitya ascertaining. Yena by which. Shreyaha real benefit. Aham I. Apnuyam may have. Translation. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. This Arjuna is telling to Krishna. So let's read Srila Prabhupada purport. In the previous chapter, as a prelude to Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of the neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. So we will chant prayers to our spiritual masters and then we will discuss this verse. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatadeshitarine Vancha Kalpatarurvishya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So this is quite an important verse in Bhagavad Gita. So just to give you a context, let's understand the translation one more time. By my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. So the verse begins like this: Vyami Shrena. So Mishra means something which is a mixture. And Vyamishrena is like a deep mixture, thoroughly mixed up. Vyamishreneva Vakyena, your words are thoroughly mixed up. Arjuna is telling Krishna. Buddhi Mohayasiyume, and my intelligence is getting deluded, it's getting confused. Tadekam vad nishchita. So please tell me one thing. Please tell me one thing. Yena shreyo hamapnuyam, by which I can go to auspiciousness. So Arjuna is confused and he's asking, just tell me one thing what to do. Now what is that Mishra? What is that Vyamishrena? What are those equivocal words which Krishna has said which are confusing Arjuna? Right? For that we need to go to a little bit back, a little bit in the history. Actually in the second chapter, so second chapter is contents of Gita summarized. It's which gives this chapter gives the summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. In the 49th verse. So second chapter 49th verse is what has confused Arjuna actually. So let's understand. Let's read the meaning. So the translation of 49th verse is: O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So here in the 49th verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna that by use of intelligence, by use of buddhi, keep the inauspicious activities far away. So he is using the word buddhi yoga. So now if you see the disposition of Arjuna already in the first chapter is like he wants to escape fight. He wants to go away from the fight. He wants to avoid fight. Now Krishna is telling that by use of your intelligence, practice buddhi yoga and keep all abominable activities far distant. So very naturally what is coming to his mind, how he is taking this instruction is that okay, what is abominable activity is killing of my family members. So he is taking this instruction as don't fight your kinsmen, don't fight your family members, and use your intelligence to avoid this activity. So he is taking that. But then Krishna is telling again that fight. Even in the later verses, after saying this 49th verse, he continuously encourages Arjuna to fight. So he is confused, either to fight or avoid fight. In fact, so when this 49th verse is spoken, there are 29 more verses till this verse. In those 29 verses, Krishna has used 10 times the word buddhi yoga. So it has sort of magnified the intensity of using buddhi yoga. Right? So he is confused now whether to do buddhi yoga or whether to do karma yoga, jnana yoga. He is confused. So we'll try to decipher all these terms and understand what they are. Okay. So vyami shreneva vakyena. So he's telling, okay, so there are different terms. In the 6th chapter, as we go further in Bhagavad Gita, there is a discussion about yoga ladder. Just like a ladder has got different steps, similarly, yoga has also different steps. So when we say word yoga means addition or connecting to the Supreme God. And there are multiple mechanisms. Right? You might have heard these terms which I just spoke. Karma yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Any other yoga you have heard of? So these are the different terms, right? So, so Arjuna is confused whether basically I have to fight or not fight. You tell me this one thing for sure, right? So now, in Gyan Yoga, so let's try to understand the difference. In Gyan Yoga, person usually go to a secluded place. He goes to a secluded place, practices meditation. He tries to focus on, okay, what is body, what is soul, how body is really got 24 different elements, and how it is different from soul. So he is in this analysis mode, and that is called Gyan Yoga. Right? However, Karma Yoga is very different. Karma Yoga is doing your duty for a higher cause. That is Karma Yoga. Right? So Karma Yoga means that you perform something without attachment. So when actually Krishna meant that use your intelligence to avoid inauspicious things, avoid abominable things, he actually meant was do your duty without any attachment. So the inauspicious, the abominable thing, what Krishna meant was attachment. So this is very central to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and very practical for all of us, because all of us are engaged in working in this world, right? Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the principal theme and teaching, that working without attachment, right? So now, more there is attachment to something, more the troubles are. Have you experienced of this thing? Right? It can be anything. So, I heard somewhere that in Indonesia they have a festival where they need to catch a live monkey, right? So getting a live monkey caught is very difficult. They are so notorious, so passionate, right? So they do a trick. So when they go to forest to get a real live monkey, so they take big different bundles of bananas, because they know that okay, bananas are something which monkey are fan of, right? So and they have a big pot, a big transparent pot, so which is heavy in nature, and they show the banana to the monkey and they keep the banana, they drop the banana inside. So now monkey is staring at banana, but now he is confused. He knows that okay, it might be difficult for me to get my hands. So he finally, and then the hunter, the person who is there, he is just waiting for that trick to get into action, right? So now monkey comes down, he puts his hands in the pot, but now his hands are like this, so he cannot take that hand out. But neither he cannot drop also. Like if he drops, then your hands can easily come out. No? How the ladies, they wear bangles. No? If you do like this, you cannot simply. So now if he drops, but then he cannot drop also. Now it's a trade-off between like what to do, right? Very practical. So monkey finally decides to not leave the banana, because ultimately it's banana, right? And then that's how they actually catch the monkey, real monkey. Yeah, because then he cannot take the hand out, he cannot move the pot also. They come and catch the monkey. So often in our life also, it can be iPhone, it can be a car, it can be a person, it can be so many, it can be a job which is not working for us, right? So many different things. If we have attachment to anything, that causes problem in our life, right? So this is very central to the theme of Bhagavad Gita, that working without attachment, right? So Krishna meant that okay, keep away all this abominable activity of attachment. Don't calculate about let's say losing or winning. Don't calculate about this. Just do your duty, right? So this is called Karma Yoga. All of you understood what is Karma Yoga? Now we talked about Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is like not really doing your duty. It's like going to the forest, sitting in seclusion, and then analyzing the body, soul, analyzing, right? That is called Jnana Yoga. So, and then third thing is Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Now later as we go towards the 9th chapter, or which are the middle chapters of Bhagavad Gita, right? So Buddhi Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga is glorified as the topmost, that is the topmost in the yoga ladder. Right? So what is the difference between, can someone say what is the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga? Or maybe some thoughts, what do you think? Bhakti is devotion. Choosing the path of devotion to attain our God. Okay. And Jnana Yoga is by learning, reading and learning. Reading and learning, that's Dhyan, yeah? Yeah, primarily I'm looking for a difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is devotion to our God, that's nice. And what is Karma Yoga? We just discussed. Yes. Actually, there's very slight difference. When the Karma Yoga gets to its ecstatic or pinnacle, ecstatic position, it becomes a Bhakti Yoga. So Karma Yoga, person is more focused on not caring for the results, right? But simply, let's say I tell you, okay, you go to job, but don't care for the results. Don't care for appraisals, don't care for this. Do you think it is very easy to do? It's not, right? Very often, like everything, even a mail we send, we think about our appraisals, right? So that's a Karma Yoga. But so in action, Bhakti Yoga is much easier than Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga means working without detachment. But in Karma Yoga, the concept of God is not quite clear. It's like you and work, and you are trying to just get detached from the work. Right? That's Karma Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga is doing everything for Krishna. Even including our job, including our family duties, including our social duties. That is Bhakti Yoga. Right? So there's a very nice verse. Let's try to chant this verse. It comes in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which 9.27. Yat karoshi yadashnasi. You can try to follow if you can. Yat karoshi yadashnasi. Yat juhoshi dadasiyat. Yat tapasyasi kaunteya. Tat kurushva madarpanam. The meaning of this verse is, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Right? So this is Bhakti Yoga. Doing everything, even eating or sleeping, all the activities are dedicated to Krishna. So Bhakti Yoga in action becomes much easier because you understand that whatever I am doing for my sweet Lord Krishna. Right? So that is the concept of Bhakti Yoga, and that so Krishna here is telling, okay, rather than, so Arjuna is ready to go to the forest, right? But Krishna is encouraging him, rather than doing this, because Kshatriyas, it's not meant for Kshatriyas. Right? Kshatriyas, they collect taxes, they rule, they govern, right? So they cannot go in front of someone and beg. It's just not there in the blood. Right? So, but since his upbringing was such a divine upbringing, that even after being born in royal household, he was ready to go for begging, isn't it? Isn't it so hard for a top of the Kshatriya to do like this? Right? So, but Krishna is not encouraging this activity. So in these words, that's what we are, so 3.2, what we are discussing is, Vyamishrenava. So Krishna, you have confused me. So often you have told that, okay, do Buddhi Yoga, avoid inauspicious activity. But then again, you are telling me to fight. So please tell me one thing, and that can be certain. So now in the following verses, from 3 to 9, all the subsequent 7 verses, Krishna is going to detail what is the problem in his desire not to fight. Right? So, like if you keep coming, like if you come tomorrow, so you'll get to hear on 3.3, next day 3.4, like that. Okay. So one practical takeaway, and we will just conclude with two takeaways. One practical takeaways we learned was that working without attachment to anything causes all our sufferings in our life. And then as a solution, we discussed that detachment is just not very easy. But when we practice Bhakti Yoga, which encourages that, just like we read the 9th chapter verse, when Krishna says that whatever you do, whatever actions you do it for me. Now you'll be surprised to know that all of activities, actually whatever we are doing even today, even those who are not in Bhakti Yoga, same, all the activities can be totally dovetailed in Bhakti Yoga. Let's say eating, right? People try so many different recipes, so many different restaurants, right? Same, all these activities can be used as a service to Krishna, isn't it? We can nicely have nice recipes cooked and offer them to Krishna. Right? Now we have different tendencies. We have a tendency to go, okay, it's evening, let's walk around ACS layout, right? So we have a nice temple of the Lord here. We can utilize that tendency of walking, roaming around to visit temple of the Lord, right? What else? We have a tendency to hear some nice music, so we can participate in kirtan. That is the glorification of the Lord, and we feel like devotees are dancing here. It's so ecstatic, right? Then we have something. Okay, we want to learn something. I need some. I need to hear a lot of audio books. I need to read some books. So there are plenty of scriptures available, right? The problem with the audio books, or say the mundane literature, is that it's very changeable. I mean, and like it's continuously changing. But the wisdom we have in these scriptures, in these books, it's a time-tested wisdom, right? Timeless wisdom. Even 5,000 years back, it was true, and even now it is true, right? For example, the principle of attachment and detachment we talked about. Isn't it true even now? Right? So that's one. So similarly, all these tendencies can be fully utilized. You don't have to give up anything. It's just a dovetailing of our tendencies in a right direction, right? And then there are devotees, there are mentors who guide you, okay, how to do this, how you can utilize your talents, your skills, your mind attitudes in service to Krishna, right? So that's one takeaway, that we don't have to. So otherwise, all the material activities are going to bound us, and we will be like that monkey. We cannot drop the banana also, and then we'll get caught, right? And then second takeaway is that just like Arjuna is confused because of equivocal sounding words, right? So now why he took this meaning is because he actually wanted not to fight. So have you experienced this in your life, that you interpret in such a way that the way you want it to be interpreted? Okay. Let's say there is someone telling you to do something. You already have some disposition towards that. You want to hear something like that, so you interpret in that way, right? So sometimes we should not get flex it to the what speaker's words are there, but we should look in the entire context. What is the context being talked about, right? So he just took a word, okay, buddhi yoga and abominable activities. So he thought, okay, buddhi yoga, intelligence means going to the forest, and abominable activities means killing my family members. So he just kind of stitched the meanings, right? So we should take the speaker's words in a wider context and not hold on to the just single words like that. So this is the second takeaway. Okay, yeah, so we'll stop here. So this was a teaching from 3.2 of Bhagavad Gita. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to.
How to increase the concentration level?
How to increase the concentration level? Yeah, I'm also struggling. I'll share what helped me. So, are you looking for a concentration in something specific?
The mind is just like a monkey, going here and there. So, whenever we think of Krishna, hear the Krishna bhajans, Krishna does photos, pictures, in Prabhu's lecture, we get more and more concentration. Other way of concentration, Japamala. going on japa, going on doing japa.
Right.
But when we do japa also, the mind is not 100% with the japa. It vacillates.
Yeah.
So basically to control the mind, we depend on Krishna and Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. Very good question, very relevant, and I'm also a student of this question. So I'm also trying to, while I speak, I'm also trying to concentrate my mind. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's not very easy to control the mind. See, let's say if a river is swimming downstream, and you are swimming across the river, you are swimming with the flow current of the river. Will it be easy?
With the current,
Yes,
it will be
yes,
easy.
it will be very easy. So the intensity of current will be realized when you go against the current, isn't it? There are only few fishes which choose this option to go against the current. Now, if you ask outside people, okay, can you control the mind? What mind? I'm fully controlled because they are just going with the mind, right? So how often you have heard people saying that, okay, my mood is not like that. Oh, I don't want. Everything depends on mood. Okay, between KFC and Domino's also on mood because this color, that color on mood. This dress, that dress, mood. Totally, all the calls of life are taken just because of mood. What is mood? Mood is mind. Right? So when you are just going along the flow of the mind, it just you don't realize what is the intensity of the mind. So this question actually only a devotee can pose, right? Because he's trying to go against the current of the mind, and then he realizes that how intensity mind has, right? So this question has a lot of gravity. Thank you for this question. What can help us? Since this mind is also one of the Krishna's energy. Right? We know that our body is made of 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. Right? As we go from gross to subtle matter, things become very fine and they have got more strength also. Like, have you heard of in the previous times there were weapons which were using fire, which were using even water? There were sound weapons like Brahmastra and all. There were sound weapons, right? In current civilization, we just have fire weapons. Like if you see all the missiles, everything is just based on fire, right? But then in the previous times, they were using all the 5 ingredients, and that's how all the weapons were much more powerful than today, right? So point is, as we go from a gross dimension to a subtle dimension, things become very, very powerful. Similarly, just like our body. So gross body is like a biology, but the subtle body is like psychology. So psychology impacts our biology a lot, right? So let's say if you are sick, you might have heard this a lot. Right? Sometimes a patient is sick, but if he is well treated, and even if there's no medicine, you keep on feeding him a sugar candy or something like that, he might get well treated. Very, very easily he can recover. But if all the that's how there's rehab centers and so on, different things, right? Because the treatment is that way. But if you are not treating a person nicely, then the treatment becomes very tough, very slow, right? So our psychology impacts biology a lot. So when we talk about controlling the mind, it's on the deeper level, it's on the subtler level. So something especially on our japa or on our chanting or our reading of books or remembering Krishna, what we can try to do practically is move our lifestyle as much as you can towards the morning hours. Move your life so there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita which says that the night of a person who is a saint is a day of a person who is a materialistic. And the night of a person who is materialistic is a day for a person. So totally flipped. Right? So you see people going to bed at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I don't know what to say, either morning or evening or night. But it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m. People go to sleep. In the hostels, practically very common, isn't it? But now for devotees, all these devotees, they wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. For them, day has begun when people are going to bed. Isn't it totally flipped? So, if you see all the nonsensical activities all the ignorant activities happen in the night. So, because Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, that as we go from morning to evening, the modes change. In the morning is very much in goodness, afternoon very much in passion, night is totally in ignorance. Right? So, practically, what we can do is we can move our life in such a way that we have more time in goodness. So, when we are in Satoguna, when we are in Sattvic mode, it's relatively easier to control the mind than when we are in passion and ignorance. So, let's say if you at 11 o'clock in the night you try to hold Japamala and try to chant, it will be like you'll feel the heat. But same thing, if you do at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, it will be very smooth. You'll feel mind very much controlled. By taking this thought from Bhagavad Gita, there are so many books in the market, right? There's a 5 a.m. club by Robin Sharma and so on, right? So all the teachings are there in Bhagavad Gita. So it's like a one-stop solution. If we can follow Bhagavad Gita, we don't have to refer so many self-help books, isn't it? So this is one principle of Bhagavad Gita. So Mataji, it's one takeaway that if you could move your life, for some of us like unfortunate people, like our office timing, sometimes we have late meetings at 11 o'clock. So sometimes life does not allow us to wake up so early, but we try our best as much as we can to wake up early and go to bed early. So if you can shift your lifestyle in such a way that you can retire by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock and wake up early in the morning. So those morning hours will be very productive hours, very, very productive. So this is one practical teaching. Yeah, that answers.
How to fight sleeplessness?
Fight sleeplessness. You mean
Sometimes we think of getting
oversleep or undersleep?
Sleeping early,
Mm-hmm.
then we can't do it.
Oh, okay.
We become sleepless.
Got it. So basically, okay, so 2-3 more minutes we can spend and then we'll wrap up. You might be getting it. So one thing is, if we take lot of day rest, it's not very easy to retire early in the night. Right? Let's say if I slept 4 hours in the afternoon, definitely I won't get sleep at 8 o'clock. Right? And also metabolically, it's not very good to sleep a lot in the afternoon because the body is fully active. Our body's metabolism moves along just like sun. Right? So in the afternoon, our metabolism is very, very strong. So we should not sleep, or we should minimize our sleep. So that's one thing. Other thing to how to get sleep early is once you start shifting your day in a way, so it won't happen in a day. Let's say if you are habituated of sleeping 11 o'clock and now you try 8 o'clock, it's not going to work, right? So you should slowly move. Everything in life should be slowly and consistently. Our slope should be always positive. So which means that if you are habituated of sleeping 11, make it 10. For a month, for 2 months, stick to 10 o'clock. Then you can bring it down to 9:30, like that. Because once you sleep early, you'll be waking up early also. So that way your body will get accustomed. Right? That's one good thing actually about our mind and body. That's only one good thing. Otherwise, it always troubles us. One good thing is that it's fully trainable. Our body and mind fully trainable the way you want. You might have seen so many different people doing different miracles practically by their strength of mental and bodily strength. They are fully trainable.
Drinking milk with haldi.
Oh, all these things are, yeah, definitely. These are there on the YouTube. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can say. Spiritually, so these are the things which we can do. Okay? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.